Our third topic, we're going to be discussing toxic femininity versus toxic masculinity. So let's go ahead and dive right on in.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic. This is a topic where people don't even think exists, Dane.
Yes.
Which is crazy to me.
Yes. And to kind of get started there, one of the first things, we kind of did when we were researching this topic is we just did a simple Google search for the difference between what we found the search engine said in regards to toxic femininity and toxic masculinity.
This is interesting.
Now, for toxic femininity, which was the first one we found, I thought that one was pretty interesting because the way the information read was as if toxic femininity was a byproduct of toxic masculinity, to the extent to where it's as if toxic femininity doesn't exist unless a man is involved in the dynamic.
So what does it say? It says toxic femininity is a term that describes the eternalization of
misogynistic
values and the pressure to conform to traditional gender roles. Mm-hmm. It can involve women,
quote unquote, all the below. Feeling societal pressure to look a certain way, ignoring their own needs for care, to care for others, ignoring their own needs to care for others. So yeah, it's when I'm reading this, it's like, oh, like I said, it doesn't exist. It's just something that happens because women are expected to do something else. So a woman can't be toxic unless a man is involved or another human being is involved. So in her own solace,
she's blameless.
Yeah, her behavior. So she can behave. The behavior can be the same, mm-hmm. But the minute a man is involved, now
her toxicity.
She is being toxic because the man is involved. But she can express the same behavior to women, but it wouldn't be considered toxic femininity.
Her toxicity.
Or she wouldn't be a victim of toxic femininity. So that's really what it boils down to. It's like toxic femininity is like you're a victim at the end of the day.
Her toxicity is based on the man doing or not doing something. Mm-hmm. Whether, you just can't be toxic in your own thinking or your own rational way of being. Mm-hmm. And so what does it say about masculine toxicity?
So masculine toxicity, it required 2 pages. Has to get 2 screenshots. But again, toxic masculinity is a term used to describe a version of masculinity that is unhealthy and harmful. It is characterized by exaggerated masculinity, exaggerated masculine traits that can have negative impacts on men, boys, and society.
Wow.
So again, the way this version of toxic, the meaning of this reads as if, again, it's just within men. It's inherent in a sense. Mm-hmm. It's
that man uncontingent of any outside factors.
His environment has no. It's him. It's men.
It's something in him. Yeah. Something wrong with him.
Yes,
he has an innate proclivity to be toxic.
Well, not just him, but just men and all men. Mm-hmm. We have these quote unquote harmful traits, and it's like that's a very interesting, look on this. So I thought that was pretty interesting because for most people, the first stop that they go to when it comes to getting some information in this day and age, Google is now the new encyclopedia. Mm-hmm. So if this is the first point of contact that people are going to, so for example, for one of the for toxic masculinity, it says causes. Societal expectations. Men may feel pressure to conform to societal expectations, such as being the provider. But they're saying like that's a cause of. So now are they trying to say being a provider is toxic? Or is that one of the toxic?
Or the stress will come up being of a provider is what makes you toxic.
But the I don't know. That's what I'm trying.
The struggle that the fight that you got to go through, does that make you toxic of being a provider? And then, their whole thing is, there's a video, show the video when the girl is talking about, she wasn't supposed to go through no hardship. The guy going through a hardship, she left her husband because he went through a hardship.
I would consider that. I would consider that toxic femininity.
I mean, so that's what I'm gonna sit here and prove to y'all women that's watching that toxic femininity is real. Right. And it's something that, and we're not here to bash you. We're not here to, continue to, beat you down with it. We just want you to be aware of some things that are causing you not to have the outcomes that you want when it comes to dealing with men.
You left your husband because he went through a little financial struggle.
And did.
At any point in time, did you feel that love should have kept you there?
I feel like he didn't love me, because if he did, he wouldn't have went through a financial struggle. A man that loves a woman don't go through hard times.
So, that's just one, woman. Of course, she doesn't speak for everyone, but that whole ideology and way of thinking is something that has infiltrated. It's number one, toxic, and it has infiltrated the thinking of a lot of young women, in society today, which, constantly has this, battle between male and female. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And like, how can you sit there and honestly say that if he loved me, he wouldn't have went through a hardship, as if people choose to go through hardships and hard times.
Or he planned it for this.
Yeah, like this was the plan, like between the age of 35 and 37, I'm going to get laid off from my job and go through a hardship and, maybe have to depend on my better half to, get us through this little period until I reassess. And then her response, oh, no, I'm out of here. I ain't, this ain't what I signed up for. You ain't supposed to be going through no hardship. It's like, house, right? Like, how do you think like that?
It makes me wonder for those females who think like that. Again, like what did you sign up for? Because it obviously wasn't to build a life with this man.
Better or
obviously,
worse,
right? Better
rich
or worse.
Or poor.
So
sickness and in health.
Right. So it's just,
that ain't.
And again, it's not a matter of. Again, us trying to bash or criticize, but it's just more so acknowledging the behaviors here in regards to, how we are conducting ourselves in relation to the opposite person. I mean, in relation to this individual that we're claiming that we want to have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. Because again, toxic masculinity was something, a term I remember talking about back in 2019 that was when I kind of like first started hearing about toxic masculinity. It was back in 2019, and I remember making the post like basically starting with the understanding of what the two words mean: toxic meaning poisonous, masculinity being qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of men. Right. So then, like I said, so by definition, toxic masculinity is poisonous. Is poisonous qualities or attributes regarded as character. So again, it's as if, like you said, masculinity itself is toxic. So it's like when I hear, it's just funny to me when I hear it. It's as if again that all men are born born toxic at the end of the day. Whereas, and because all men are born toxic, then that's why women has
to be the way they are.
That's why women behave the way they are. So that's why it can't be toxic femininity, because they're only doing this as a reaction to what the men are doing to them.
So just so you know, don't think we're being misogynistic or, bashing women. There's a video where there's a young black woman who kind of breaks it down, just the whole toxicity of the mind frame of these women, modern day women, so to speak. So go ahead and roll that video, and then we'll discuss it after this.
Men are not obsessed with women like they used to be. Y'all don't find that kind of weird? And to be honest, no, I don't find that kind of weird, because what exactly is there for men to be obsessed with in today's world? Women have left no room for imagination, none whatsoever. It's like your sense of entitlement is out of control. Your expectations are unrealistic. Y'all walk around showing your bodies half dressed, half exposed 24/7, out smoking, drinking, partying 24/7, on the scene 24/7. A lot of y'all are not even coming with nothing to the table because you're too busy with your hand out trying to see what man got the next bag so he can sponsor your lifestyle to make you look like you're living a lifestyle to post on the internet. It's like a lot of y'all don't have common sense. A lot of y'all don't know how to hold a conversation. A lot of y'all don't have no originality about yourself. themselves. Everybody is getting the same body. Everybody is getting the same hairstyle. Everybody looks the exact same. And it's like, y'all get that confused. Oh, well, men like that. No, men will fuck that. But men are not wiping that and they're not cuffing that. And I think y'all are starting to realize that. And then the first thing y'all want to say is, oh, well, they're gay, they're sassy. No, they're not. They're just tired of what you guys are presenting. And if y'all are here to give them free pussy, free looks, and free everything they ain't got to work for, why would they? But they're never going to take you serious. So it seems to me like a lot of y'all are now starting to realize that you're either losing value or have lost value from chasing attention. And now that's something that y'all got to deal with, and y'all can't face that fact. Men love women that are exclusive, women that are put up, women that every man can say he had or can't have. Simple as that.
Hey, was she eating or what?
I'll start here. First and foremost, we have to understand that the human being, regardless of his gender, it is driven to prioritize maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain. Like,
facts.
Period, point blank.
Right.
So starting there, where we have to realize that, okay, every human being has a unique image of what they view to be pleasurable and what they view to be painful.
Right.
There will be some similarities with human beings, but it still ain't gonna be identical. It will be similar.
Right.
So in that regard, like she's saying, yes, I have no doubt in my mind that when it comes to women chasing attention, they're doing it because it feels they're maximizing pleasure. Mm-hmm. It feels good, but from my point of view, in my perspective, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like they understand the nature of the human being in regards to, yes, every human being is trying to maximize pleasure, but it's like they're maximizing pleasure, not understanding. It's like they're just thinking, because again, when you listen to how women speak a lot of the times in this case, in their minds, it's just like it's as if it's hedonism at the end of the day.
Yeah.
To where it's just like, again, the prioritization of pleasure over everything else, not understanding that, like, working out is the best example. So, yeah, you're going to have to endure painful exercise in order to experience the pleasure of looking in the mirror and feeling good about the body you see in that reflection.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you have to lose weight. So again, when it comes to just going back to just in this case, the toxicity of a woman chasing attention, thinking that it's supposed to produce a significant, long-term, meaningful relationship for her. Mm-hmm. Like, in my opinion, that's what makes it toxic.
Yeah. Yes. The whole mannerism, the way you're carrying yourself and projecting yourself could be deemed as toxic.
To get attention. To feel pleasure.
Yeah. And
that's not the only way to get pleasure.
And that's not the only way to get attention.
Especially for men.
Not for men for long term.
Right.
To be kept.
To be kept,
for a man to go out here and work every day and pay all the bills and make sure we have a home and a roof over your head and a car note is paid and insurance is paid and the kids are going to school and we make sure the tuition is paid and we make sure you got, your hair done, your nails done, your hair, everything did. We making sure we going on vacations. We making sure this is going on. This, like, we're writing that bill. We're footing that bill. We're writing that check. Mm-hmm. And so on the flip side to that, all we're asking is for, like the young woman said, some exclusivity.
Right. So again, women think that like the assumption is that, like, again, I gotta look like a bad bitch. I gotta engineer myself to be a Kardashian clone because that's what the men like. And as she said, like, yeah, that's what men like to fuck on. Mm-hmm. But again, is that what men are cuffing? Mm-mm. Quote unquote, keeping around for the long term? And typically not.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're not exclusive.
Right.
And by being exclusive, ultimately, it's not about him doing something, again, to make you want to be exclusive. Mm-hmm. It's just about you as a woman making a decision to be exclusive. And that's what I'm saying. Like, because again, I've often heard women say, well, if I'm with this guy A, and then I get an offer from guy B we'll just use money just to keep them at the example. So if guy A is $10,000, but then she gets an offer from guy B that's $20,000, then in her mind, it's like, I'm supposed to go, aren't I supposed to go be with guy B because he's more? But it's just like, nah, you made a commitment with guy A.
Right.
So it's just like, And that's what I think women seem not to understand just about the nature of men.
Just like the video we watched.
Yeah.
Once he went through a hard time and she like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how? Like, how you
Because it's like a lot of like men typically are typically going to be of principle. So we're looking at, again, these vows that we're saying or that we're going to recite. We're looking at that. We're looking at that seriously. You know, we're taking it seriously. We're not just looking at it just as words as we just recite and go through the motions of this ceremony. Mm-hmm. So I think, well, I know that a lot of men make the crucial mistake of believing that, oh, I heard her say the words, but it's just like, yeah, she just said them to go through the motions, but she didn't actually mean them. Mm-hmm. Oh, but so it's just like, yeah, we got to just do better.
And another thing, a point that I made in another segment when I was talking about, you know, when we was talking about the DEI and how black people want to unite and have a voice about certain matters and not about other matters. Why aren't we upset or, you know, boycotting these Asian businesses that come into our community and sell all this European hair and capitalize off all our money? Like they build empires off of our, you know, ignorance to project something that we're not. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, where's the anger about that? You know what I'm saying?
Again, it's viewed. I would imagine that women view the fake hair as pleasurable.
Yeah, a tool to achieve the pleasure. Because
again, we going all and this is regardless of gender, male or female. That's what we're driven by as human beings. Is so again, yeah, a woman, she wants to go buy that hair, that fake hair, not because, and as we're looking at it, like, why would they want to, like? Because I know me personally, I'm just like, why are you putting on a costume? Like, you got to put on a disguise.
It's like a whole hat. Yeah. And then when you the funny part about that, you know, they put all that on to go out in the streets. But the if you have a bad bitch or whatever the case may be that got the eyelashes and the weave and all that and the baby hair going down to her damn neck, the woman that you actually get at home don't look like that. She got a bonnet on.
Yeah, right.
The eyelashes in her case ready to go out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She got her furry slides on, house shoes and shit. Dirty pajamas with a tomato soup stain on it and shit, and like sitting there, you know,
right?
You know, and then the intellectual capacity is, you know, that's a whole nother subject. So the stuff that's coming out of her mouth is just like, that's, I don't know what's more irritating, looking at you or listening to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she can be with a man, but he gets like the unboxed version of her. So basically, I kind of like a product in the store. So he don't get the display that you see when you walk past the window. You know what I'm saying? That caught him. You know what I'm saying? He don't get that. He get the mannequin that's in the back in the stock room that got the arm missing. You know what I'm saying? He got on, like you said, they got stains on it. They got like half of the head cut off. Right. They got to piece it together.
That's the version of her he gets. But in her mind, it seems that women think that, oh, well, he married me or he's with me, so he's good. I don't have to give my best to him no more because I already got him. But when I go out here in these streets because I'm still open for business, like I said, I'm still courting offers. I gotta put on my front,
but that's
my window shocker.
That's what makes the natural woman have an advantage,
exactly,
over all that costume.
And that's why
that's why
we typically say we prefer
natural. And we choose the natural woman because, you know, they wake up, they ain't putting on a bunch of makeup. If they pretty and cute and, you know, soft and feminine, that's how they is when they went to sleep, when they woke up in the middle of the night, when they get up and go to the bathroom. She might get up and go to the bathroom. You fuck around, go to sleep before she take all her shit off, and then she get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom. You think somebody robbing your house. You think a whole nother nigga in that motherfucker.
I mean, bro, did you see that clip? There was a young lady. She was a nurse, and she was, you know, basically disrespecting her client. He was a disabled guy. Mm-hmm. But they showed her mugshot. You already know.
Yeah, because you got to take all that shit off.
That's
you
my
got to take the wig. You got to take all that out.
But the thing that blew my mind about it is like, because when I be looking specifically at the sisters, it's just like, even though the hair was matted from having her hat on her hair, she was looking wild, but just her structure and her features, she still looked like a decent looking woman to me.
A lot of these women,
but it was just
beautiful.
like with the hair,
Sis,
and
you
all
are
the
beautiful,
makeup and all that stuff. That just makes them. To me, it's like they dilute themselves.
My sisters, you are beautiful. Please understand your value and your worth. You are beautiful, as is. Or what if niggas? All of us as black people went around here wearing
blonde wigs.
Men
though,
yeah, mullet,
toupees,
with a mullet. You know, talking about I'm tapping into my better self. Like y'all be like,
I feel beautiful with this song. I feel handsome with this song.
Yeah, I feel dapper and debonair. I
can't go out the house unless I put my mullet wig on.
I feel empowered.
Yeah.
I feel masculine.
I heard. I was talking. I was out and about once a couple years back, and I heard these brothers. They was just kind of like cross talking, and they was like, "Man," he was like, "I just don't be. I don't get the sisters." He was like, they engineer themselves to, they put on these wigs, this makeup, all this artificial stuff to look like white women. He was like, do they not know that if we really want white women, we would just go be with a white woman?
We just go be with a white woman.
We don't need the imitation version of it.
And the white woman is in her natural state, so she still ain't, the white woman still ain't putting on the bonnet. You could grab that white woman here, you could grab it, pull it. Yeah. She don't care. You better not touch that soap. You gotta fuck for hours, and you better not touch her fucking.
Don't touch the hair, bro.
They sleeping like this with their head hanging off the side of the bed. It's like it's crazy, the dynamics and the things that we go through, and kind of to like circle back around to, the topic, that all could be is toxic.
Have you ever been in a situation where
let me finish the point. It's toxic because it demonstrates self-hate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
That's how I'm tying it into the toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it toxic, because at the end of the day, at the core of that is self-hate.
Yes.
You don't think you're good enough.
No, 100%.
The way you're created, is not good enough, and you are. I'm 100%. Telling you.
And that's what I typically go back to thinking to myself. It's just like, well, if a woman is going to be putting in all this time, energy, and effort into engineering herself to look this specific way, then again, that just that has to mean that she does not like the way she looks. So to your point, self-hate, which is now going to beget specific types of behaviors and actions, what I mean? And which can be labeled toxic.
Yeah, it's going to give you different actions when you're made up, and it's going to give you different actions when you don't have your costume on.
Exactly.
So now you're going to have this projected, aura or disposition, because you feel like, you're Wonder Woman. I got my cape
and they be
on.
Forgetting, what I'm saying?
But then when it ain't on, there's a more like
a reserve,
laid
back,
insecure.
Yeah.
Well, then it's like, now we're dwelling at the bottom, low vibrating, and now when anything somebody say, you offended, and they not, it's like.
That's all I'm gonna say. Going back to your point about the hair part, it was like, have you ever been in a situation where you with a chick and y'all getting hot and bothered, and she says, hold up, I gotta put my hair up first.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, huh?
Or they'll straight tell you don't touch it. Mm-hmm. They know, women these days know how to get it in without fucking their hair up. It's crazy.
No, they are professionals. They
are professionals.
As you just said that, it made me go back to. I remember I was dealing with a chick, and it was like, for whatever reason, she would always get her hair done like the day of, her putting in that text message, that order, and I would pull up, and that would be her thing, and I always remembered it because it'd be like, she'll put her head down, then it was like she would comb it, then she would put a bobby pin, then she would comb it, put a bobby pin, then she would comb it again, put a the little clip, then she would wrap it. It was like I become a master at wrapping hair, you know what I'm saying? Because I done seen it done so many times. But it used to blow my mind, because I was like, damn, like, so she really just messed up the mood just to wrap her hair?
Just to wrap her hair, yo. Not to put a condom on, but the rapper here. But that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole other story. We'll say that for another episode.
That's a whole other topic. Was there some other points that we were?
I mean, I just saw my man MJ going back to versus toxic masculinity. He made he had an interesting perspective on what toxic masculinity is, and he said masculinity is toxic when it's allowed to keep you from feeling, and it made me think about the example where he said don't let quote unquote being a man, and then it made me realize are they saying that? Because when I look at something like that, quote unquote, be a man or man up, like that in my mind, I would typically say that as a measure or to inspire the young man or the man I'm talking to be stoic. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily to deny his feelings or not to emote per se, but more so just as a matter of being stoic. Because again, men, we're humans too.
Define stoic for some of our people. What exactly you mean by stoic?
So I like to give the official definitions, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll go ahead. So stoic is a person who can endure pain or hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. A member of so basically, a person who can endure pain or hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. So again, for the example I know we often give is when a little boy will trip and fall, then my leg hurts, and then the dad typically is like, oh boy, get up,
suck it up,
like suck it up, man up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
don't cry, you better not cry.
Yeah, be a man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're saying, I could be wrong, but my interpretation of the events is that's what they're claiming is what makes men toxic, because we're not allowing ourselves to quote unquote express our emotions. But
to play devil's advocate, I do believe there's some leeway there, where it can be too much of stoicness.
Well,
I'm gonna make up a word.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, because I was gonna give the example of for example, there's a difference between a little kid tripping and falling and his leg is broken. The dad, stand up, man up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that would be a little toxic, as opposed to just a little boy fell and he didn't hurt himself. He didn't scuff his knee up. There's nothing, but just the experience of him falling and then observing people cry so then that's why the kid is crying. And when the dad comes up, hey, stop the crying, man up. To me, that's not toxic. But a lot of people will still say that that's being toxic. Yeah, that's toxic masculinity. Yeah. It's just like there has to be a distinction in my mind between the two, and I think that's what people. Well, that's what it seems from my perspective. That's what seems to be the problem. People aren't making the distinction between the two.
So, in conclusion, all we're saying, whether it's toxic femininity or toxic masculinity, it's toxic. Yes. The key word is the toxicity, which is not
men
good.
Can be guilty and women can be guilty,
which is not beneficial for either parties. And so, to get the perfect outcome or the outcome that you desire. Let's both check ourselves. Let's both check our emotions, our the way we do things, the way we think about things. Let's check it at the door. To see if I'm being over masculine, toxic, and then as a female, I believe it's warranted for the females to do the same, because there's a lot of things that's going on now that's not labeled as feminine toxicity, but we the first ones.
If men do it, it would be labeled.
You heard it here first.
Masculinity. Masculinity.
You heard it here first. There is a such thing as toxic femininity.
So before we go to close, I just wanted to read. There's a tweet. Cindy Noir. She says, "A woman convincing a man to confide in her and be vulnerable and emotional with her, only to throw it back in the man's face at the first sign of conflict, in my opinion, is a form of toxic femininity."
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was a pretty interesting take, especially since it came from a woman, and or what I would imagine to be, a woman's handle. But the point just being, I would have viewed that as a form of toxic masculinity. But from my perspective, they would say that no, that wouldn't be a woman being toxic femininity, throwing it back in his face. No, she only did that because he did something to her. So that's my point.
Well, be vulnerable to share something.
But that's what I'm saying. No matter what that happens, it seems like it always gets flipped or spun to, well, she only did that because that's what he did to her.
Because he did something to her.
It's never just like, oh yeah, that was just a toxic action or something toxic to say, ma'am, like that was wrong. You know, like that wasn't that was
and that goes on.
That wasn't the best move.
That goes on both sides.
I agree.
You didn't know, and
it's only expressed on one.
Yeah, in a relationship, a man, you shouldn't. You have a woman that open up to you and tell you, some
right. You don't throw
vulnerable things that
down.
she might experience. You don't never use that as a weapon to come 2 weeks later like, oh, that's why your uncle touched you and raped you because you're so fast.
Right.
It's like ho,
right.
like, but
Right.
I got you.